Hello, I'm Andy Prosser. I'm the head of investments at InvestEngine. Welcome back to our weekly Market Roundup, which is your quick look at what's been moving the markets and what it means for investors. So it's been another good week for investors this week. We had the S&P 500. It reached new all-time highs for us sterling investors, and so did the FTSE 100, and so did emerging markets. The Euro stocks, which the European market, that didn't quite make a new all-time high this week, but it did reach one last week, so it's still doing pretty well. The headline, I think, for this video is that it's good news for all major markets this week. Over in the US, the market's being boosted by the usual suspects. It's the kind of well-publicized factors that the market's been focused on a lot this year. So it's AI optimism, it's the expectation of strong earnings, and it's the potential for the Fed cuts to continue. But what's interesting is that outside the US, it's not just an AI story. Now, more generally, outside the US, investors have been looking for regions which offer more attractive valuations than the US because the kind of meteoric rise of the AI companies has meant that the US market is now much more concentrated and it's much more expensive than it has been in the past. And that means that relative to the US, almost all other markets are looking much cheaper, and investors have been taking notice of that. So most markets outside the US have been helped by this difference in valuations between the US and ex-US. But there have also been a few kind of region-specific factors which have also helped. So, for example, in the UK, the FTSE 100, that's being lifted up by the banks, thanks to the slower pace of interest rate cuts. And it's also being helped by the gold miners who are benefiting from this massive rise in the price of gold that we've seen recently. And this week, the price of gold reached over $4,000 an ounce, which is another all-time high. In Europe, the faster pace of rate cuts over there by the ECB, that's helped support equities. And that market's also been supported by big fiscal support from their government. And then in emerging markets, they've been benefiting from the weaker dollar. And I think we spoke about this on a couple of videos ago. The reason that helps is that because a lot of EM governments and companies, they borrow money in dollars while they earn money in their local currency. That means that when the dollar falls, the cost of paying interest on their debt drops. So overall, we're having lots of new all-time highs being reached across the globe for several different reasons. AI is definitely leading the conversation, but it's not just AI. As we get into the next round of earnings in the US, which started this week, this general optimism, just as a word of caution, is likely to come under pressure if earnings don't live up to their expectations. Okay, that's it for this week. If you have any thoughts or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Otherwise, for more updates, head to our blog, sign up to our newsletter, and we'll be back next Friday. Thank you for watching.